Psyche Truth. Life, wisdom.
Hey you guys, welcome back. This is Erica Vetra from Vetra Yoga and Fitness. I'm really excited today to be bringing you a 20-minute energizing yoga flow. This is going to focus a lot on building power and strength and energy and confidence to really kind of give you a good start, get you feeling energized and ready to meet the day. So I recommend doing this video in the morning or the early afternoon if you can fit it in. It's only 20 minutes, so you have no excuses. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So go ahead and come to your hands and your knees, tabletop position. Just taking a moment to get everything aligned correctly. So you want your shoulders stacking directly over your wrists. You want your hips stacking directly over your knees. Make sure you have a really nice wide base of support in your hands. So you want to, instead of dumping all of your weight into the heels of your hands, you want to really use these knuckle joints and your fingertips, spreading your fingers really nice and wide, as if you were gripping the ground. You know how you kind of, if you were to grip the ground with the toes of your feet, right? This is what you're doing with your hands. Rotate your biceps just slightly forward so that you can kind of wrap your shoulders around, lengthening the space between your ears and shoulders and activating your upper back. And I'd like to start today in plank pose to build up some heat. So as you're ready, keeping your shoulders exactly where they are, go ahead and take your knees off the ground, taking your feet back to plank pose. So this is the top of a push-up. And like I said, if you ever need to modify, you're welcome to put your knees on the ground as long as you keep your knees, hips, and shoulders in line. So as long as your butt doesn't kind of start to poke up, try to think about engaging your core as much as possible, pulling your belly up towards your spine, and squeezing the tips of your hips towards the bottoms of your rib cage. And if you're doing the full variation of the plank, if you can try to straighten your legs as much as you can, send your heels towards the back of the room. Make the back of your body really nice and long, and then rather than letting your back sway and your belly dip, try to hug up and in. So you kind of create this hollow sensation. And just stay here and take a few breaths. As we're here, just getting warmed up and getting a little bit of heat going, a little bit of work getting done. Just want to take a second to say it's really nice to be back. It's been a while since I've shot with Psyche Truth. I just spent 3 months in Thailand training in martial arts, and so I'm really excited to be back here filming for you guys. So let me know if you've ever been to Thailand. Let me know if you've ever trained in martial arts. And as you're ready, take one last inhale to prepare. We're going to do a chaturanga push-up on your exhale. So bending your elbows towards the back of the room, almost like scraping the sides of your rib cage with your elbows. You're going to come down to this chaturanga position. And if you notice, my elbows, or rather my shoulders, aren't dipping below my elbows. That puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on the shoulders. So you're going to stay just like this, taking a couple breaths. And if you need to modify, go ahead and put your knees down. On your next inhale, come back up to plank pose. And hold here just for a couple of breaths. So we're going to take a few more of these on the breath. As you exhale, you're going to lower, and as you inhale, you're going to come up, right? So inhale, prepare here. Exhale, lower to chaturanga, knees up or down. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale to chaturanga. Inhale to plank. Exhale to chaturanga, last one. Inhale to plank. And this time on your exhale, you're going to lift your hips all the way up and back into downward facing dog. So just taking a moment here to pedal out your feet, stretch a little bit, keep your hands firmly planted on the ground, keep your shoulders nice and far away from your ears. Reach your hips for the sky as you sink your heels down towards the ground. And now look between your hands, take a big breath in, bend your knees, and as you exhale, just go ahead and baby step your feet to meet your hands. So let's hang out here in a forward fold for a few breaths. You're free to grab opposite elbows, kind of sway a little bit side to side. Let your head release, let your neck release. And from those chaturanga push-ups, if you want to take a few wrist circles to kind of release out your hands, that's totally fine. And as you're ready, bring your hands to the ground. Bend your knees as much as you need to make this happen. So if your legs stay straight, that's fine. Otherwise, go ahead, bend your knees. On your next inhale, flatten your back and gaze forward. And then exhale, fold again. And this time, we're going to come all the way to standing. So on your inhale, go ahead and reach your arms out to the sides, stand all the way up, touch your palms together above your head, and exhale your hands to prayer. Find a strong mountain pose before we continue. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to say, I just got this Batman shirt, and I'm completely in love with it. I've been wearing it every day for the last few days. Batman's my favorite superhero, so let me know who's yours. All right, here we go. We're gonna take chair pose now, right? So bring your feet together. The big toe ball mounds of your feet should be touching more or less, and your heels should be about 1 inch apart. If that's uncomfortable, you can take your feet a little bit wider. Just try to go for the outside edges of your feet being parallel, okay? Keep your heart open, your core engaged, and your back flat. Start to squat down. Brush the ground with your fingertips. That's how you know that you're low enough, right? And see, my knees are not coming in front of my feet. So my butt's sticking back so that my knees can still be tracking over my toes, and I should be able to see my toes. Touch the ground with your fingertips, like I said, and then sweep your arms up to chair pose. So this is the basic shape. Once you get here, try to sit down maybe just a 1/2 inch lower. Squeeze your knees together, squeeze your inner thighs together. And then try to think about pulling your fingertips as far away from your hips as you can. So what you're doing is you're creating as much traction as possible in your spine using the muscle strength of your body, right? It's a very energizing pose. You're working with the largest muscle in your body, which is your thighs, your quads, right? Draw your shoulders down your back and then think about a little bit of a back bend. So it's like you're sticking your chest out a little bit, but try not to lose your core engagement when you do this. So really hug your rib cage in. Sit a little bit lower, knees together, arms up. Take 2 more breaths. And if you can do this without crunching your neck, take your gaze up between your hands, maintaining your core engagement. 1 more deep breath in here. And as you exhale, fold forward, straighten your legs, relax your head, relax your arms. And in a forward fold, you're absolutely welcome to bend your knees as much as you want. If your back and your hamstrings are pretty tight, you could even bend your knees so much that your belly is resting completely on your thighs. So what you're going for is lengthening the spine and lengthening the hamstrings without ever putting too much strain or causing pain. Bring your hands to the ground, bend your knees as much as you need to. Take a deep breath in and lengthen your spine, gaze forward. Exhale to fold. Okay, so you're going to bring your right foot right between your hands. Step your left foot as far to the back of your mat as you can. And just find yourself here in a low lunge. Really root down into the big toe ball mound and the heel of your right foot, and then press the back of your left knee towards the sky. So you want to straighten your back leg as much as you can. Start to feel that separation in your inner thighs and in your hips. We're going to take some jump switches here. You might have seen this in Weight Loss Part 2, I believe it was. So this is going to get your heart rate up. It's going to let you move a little bit. So come to your fingertips. Make sure you've got a pretty strong base of support. As you exhale, prepare and engage your core. And as you inhale, you're going to jump switch your feet, ending with the left foot forward. So exhale, prepare. Inhale, jump to switch. And so now you're in exactly the same position, just with the opposite leg forward. So you want to make sure your left knee is tracking right over your left ankle. Make sure you've got a good base of support. Take a couple of breaths here. We're going to go a few more times, okay? So exhale to prepare. Engage. Inhale, jump. Okay? A few more times, now moving with the breath. Exhale, prepare. Inhale, jump. 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 Last one, exhale, prepare. Inhale, jump. And now you've got your right foot forward and your left foot back. So go ahead, lower your back knee to the ground. Untuck your left toes. And then reach your arms overhead for Anjaneyasana. So just take a few moments here to catch your breath. Think about the power that you've generated so far. Coming back to the Batman theme, I was thinking about this today and I noticed that most superheroes kind of come from that humble upbringing, you know? They kind of start off as these normal guys or normal people, and they end up doing these great things for their community, and they channel all this, excellent power and goodwill and strength and confidence. So I like to think about that a little bit when I go through a workout or a yoga practice, especially with something like martial arts training. It's about really getting in touch with power that you have within. So this is a really good pose to practice this in. Really lift your arms up as high as you can. Again, thinking about that separation between your fingertips and your tailbone, right? So just pulling up as you let your hips kind of sink down a little bit deeper. At the same time, take your belly button, pull up and in towards your heart so you really keep that core engagement. Core engagement is really important to protect your spine, shoulders down your back. And if you want, you could turn this into a little bit of a heart opener. So squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you, drawing the sides of your neck towards the back of the room, and maybe beginning to drop your head back. Always being mindful of your neck. Reach your fingertips towards the back of your mat, and really just enjoy the opening. On your next inhale, take your arms to the sky. And then as you exhale, plant your hands on either side of your right foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee off the ground. Step back to plank pose. Take a big breath in to prepare. We're going to go through a vinyasa. Exhale, push to chaturanga. On your inhale, take upward facing dog, untucking your toes and opening your heart forward. And then as you exhale, tuck your toes and lift up your hips. Let your head drop low, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here, pedal your feet out. Let your hips come a little bit higher. Maybe notice a little bit more heat, a little bit more openness, a little bit more power. Keep your arms nice and strong, and then as you're ready, gaze between your hands and step or float to the top of your mat. Take a big breath in, lengthen your spine, and then exhale, fold. Your next inhale is going to carry you all the way to standing, pressing your palms together above your head. Huge breath in. Exhale your hands to prayer. And reset. Getting ready to come to the other side. Just make sure you've got a really firm base of support. Keep your chest up and your shoulders down. Stand tall, stand proud. Coming to chair pose. As you're ready, make sure you are gripping the ground with your toes and that your feet are pretty close together. Squat low, hips reaching towards the back of your mat. Make sure you can see some toes in front of your knees. Brush the ground with your fingertips. Leave your legs where they are and then lift your arms up. Chair pose, round 2. And this time you might want to challenge yourself by sitting a little bit lower. You could take a little bit more of an advanced variation by pressing your palms together above your head and then trying to pull your biceps behind your ears. So as I do this, watch what happens to my rib cage, right? So my chest is out and my core is engaged. The further I pull my arms back, the more I want to kind of start to splay out here. You want to attempt to keep your ribs hugging together. Again, really using that strength to protect your spine. So give it a shot. Take one more deep breath. Maybe gaze up between your hands without crunching your neck. And as you exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands to the ground. As I said, bend your knees as much as you need to, as much as is comfortable. Take a big breath in and lift up halfway, flattening your back and gazing forward. And then exhale to fold. Time for some more jump switches. So make sure your left foot is planted between your hands. Go ahead and step your right foot as far back to your mat as you can. And you can wiggle it back there to make sure you can really get your right leg straight. So you really want to fire up this back leg. Squeeze your thigh. Press the back of your knee towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch in the bottom of your right foot. Make sure your left knee is over your left ankle. Engage your core, and you can even start to kind of take a little bit of a bounce like this, right? So now you know what's coming. We're going to take a few on each side on the breath. Make your fingers strong. Exhale to prepare. Inhale to jump switch. Exhale to prepare. Inhale to switch. Exhale, prepare. Inhale, switch. Exhale to prepare. Inhale, switch. One more on each side. Exhale to prepare. Inhale, switch. Last one. Exhale, prepare. Inhale and switch. And as you exhale, go ahead and drop that right knee. Untuck your right toes. Engage your core as always. And then go ahead and lift your arms up to the sky for Anjaneyasana. We're going to call this power pose just in this video. So you're going to feel a lot of the heat that you've generated already and use that to really shoot energy out of your fingertips. Let your hips get heavy. Let the front of your right hip stretch a lot and then pull your belly up and in towards your heart, ribs together as always, shoulders down your back. Gaze up between your fingertips without crunching your neck. And if you'd like, make it a heart opener, right? Draw the sides of your neck back. Start to track your fingertips past your head. Drop your head back and reach for your back foot with your fingertips. Maybe eventually it'll touch. For me, it's not going to happen today, but maybe next week. Keep pressing down into the ball of your left foot to maintain your balance. And as you're ready, inhale your arms all the way up once more. Exhale to plant your fingertips around your left foot. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee off the ground. Time for a vinyasa, so you're going to step back to plank pose. Exhale to chaturanga. Remember, you can always put your knees down. Inhale to upward facing dog, chest forward, head up. Exhale to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, drop your head. Just stay here, take a few breaths. Remember to keep your shoulders really broad. Keep pressing into the ground with your fingertips. Keep your heels lengthening down towards your mat. And as you're ready on your next inhale, you're going to slide forward to plank pose. Preparing for forearm plank. So, the thing to keep in mind here is to try to not let your hips dip or come up. You want to keep a really strong straight line. And a way that I've found that works for me to do that is to really squeeze the tips of my hips, the fronts of my hips, towards my rib cage. So go ahead and drop to your left forearm, followed by your right forearm. Now, if it's more comfortable to have your hands spread out on the ground, that's okay. If you feel better clasping your hands, that's okay too. Just what you want to make sure of is that your elbows are directly under your shoulders. So it's almost like you were squeezing your elbows towards each other. And then keep your legs as straight as they'll go. Keep your belly in. Keep your thighs engaged. You're welcome to drop your hip or your knees at any time. Let's take 2 more breaths here. 1 more deep breath in. 1 more deep breath out. And then we're actually going to come back up through plank pose, 1 hand at a time, to lift your hips up and back, once again to downward facing dog. From here, go ahead and come to your knees for tabletop position. Our last pose is going to be hero's pose. This is a really nice way to stretch out the thighs and stretch out the front of the body. So for hero's pose, go ahead and widen your feet to just wider than hips width distance apart and keep your toes untucked so the tops of your feet can rest on the ground. And all you have to do is start walking your hands back until you feel a good stretch. Now, you might have seen this in other videos of mine. I really like this pose. It's really excellent for your thighs, for your outer knees, and for your ankle flexibility. Especially if you do other things like running or cycling or lifting weights, it's a really nice way to stretch these areas of your body that get so tight, right? So as soon as you start to feel like a good stretch, a little intense but not painful, just stop and let your hands support your weight. If you've got an object like a block or a pillow that you'd like to sit on, because if you're like almost down to the ground but you're not quite there, that's fine. You can place something just right under your sit bones. Otherwise, go ahead and come to sitting all the way down on your mat. And if you're here, you want to just keep in mind that you shouldn't have too much space between your legs and your feet, right? So your feet shouldn't be splayed too far out. It puts a lot of pressure on your knees. Just a little bit of distance between your hips and your heels. Go ahead and just stay here for a few breaths. Sit up straight and tall. Draw your shoulder blades down your spine. Keep your core engaged. You might even close your eyes. And just let the stretch come to you. Let yourself open just a little bit. Use the heat that you've created to get a little bit of openness, a little bit of mobility. More deep breath in. More deep breath out. And then nice and slow, start to walk forward again, coming all the way back to tabletop position. Swing your legs out to one side or the other to take a comfortable seat on your mat. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching and following along. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, feel free to modify and take breaks as much as you need. Feel free to do this video once a week, twice a week, or every day if you'd like to. Hopefully it gave you some energy and some power and confidence. Be sure to let me know who your favorite superhero is, as well as if you've ever practiced martial arts. I'm curious to hear your comments and read your comments. Get in touch with me anytime, vetrafitness.com, and I shall see you next time. Namaste.